Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather. It's a little after 8 p.m. Eastern Time here on Saturday night. Tonight's video updates being sponsored by Metal Magic in Washington. You can give Chad a call for all of your paintless dent repair needs. The Traveling Hail Team, custom detailing, chrome accessories, you name it. Call Metal Magic at 698-8555 in Washington. You can see some of the before and after pictures they do and the great job they do. Give Chad a call. All right, it's a pretty nice night here, but we've got some big changes on the way. We got a storm system down to our south. This should essentially stay to our south and have no effect on us. You've got another system diving down, as you can see, towards this direction, also not going to affect us. But what we do have that's going to affect us is what we don't have pictured here, and it's actually a storm system that's essentially brewing right over British Columbia now, and that will dive down pretty much this, well, if I could do it right here, it'll essentially dive down pretty much like this and cause some headaches for us on Monday evening and Tuesday. You don't see it. It is precipitating up here in British Columbia right now, but you don't see it because it's out of our U.S. Doppler radar network that I've got showing here. But basically, these two systems of no effect for us. We got a couple of really pretty precipitation-free days coming up for us. The big temperature, the big story is going to be the temperature differences. And, we've had a nice couple of days here for the first couple of days of spring. Big time temperature crash is coming our way beginning tonight and then really lasting 3 or 4 days. But we've also got a nice warm-up to talk about after that, so that will be a good thing as well. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Here's our current setup, and you see those two areas of precipitation. As I put this into motion, you'll see those pretty much dive to our south and be of basically no effect to us. High pressure will take charge for a couple of days, and that'll be nice. Now, cool northwest winds, though, will sort of prevail, and that's going to push our temperatures down into the 40s for a high, which will be a shock to our system, really, after what we've just experienced. But again, as I'm promising, a warm-up's coming. We'll talk about that here in a second. Notice this next system dive down really from the northwest. It's up in here right now. It's dive down. Here we are by Monday afternoon. It's in Iowa and then moving down. You can see not much of an effect for us. It sort of falls apart heavy precipitation-wise, but again, notice how deep the blue line's over us. Remember that first blue line that we see right down in here is the 540 thickness line. That's what we identify as the rain-snow changeover line. And it does look like it will be cold enough for this to be pretty much an all-snow type of an event. I've taken the rain-snow mix for Tuesday out of it. I do believe it's going to be warm enough on Tuesday that we can get some of this to melt off. Is it possible that we can get some accumulations? We'll talk about that here in just a second. Yes, I believe there is a small chance that we can get some, but I'm not looking for an aggressive total on accumulations by any means. And then going beyond that system, it's high pressure, large and in charge for a few days until you get to the following weekend where you've got a little bit of rain possible, but it will be pretty warm, thankfully, with that rain chance. All right, let's take a look at future radar. Here you can see that rain that's down there and how it essentially skirts its way to our south. Shouldn't affect our southern Indiana counties tonight. Go through the day on Sunday. It's going to be cold, but it'll be a beautiful day. By the time Monday hits, though, here's that snow coming down through Iowa. And you can see how it dives its way right over us. Could start potentially as a little bit of light rain on Monday evening, and then before it turns into an all-snow type of an event. Future radar only goes out through 2 a.m. here on Tuesday morning, but you can see pretty heavy snow swath through at least portions of Indiana. Would this bring some accumulations? Probably, but you can see it misses a lot of us in the southwest portion of the state as well, so we'll have to monitor this and see. I don't believe it's going to be heavy accumulations, but there are some potential, at least, for accumulations. Here we can take a look at temperatures, and you can see how those will crash. Here we were, what we were at today, into the low 50s, and then watch these crash overnight tonight, down to around 31 degrees or so here in the Evansville and southwest Indiana areas, up to 20, down to 26 or so here around Bloomington. So you can see it's going to be a pretty cold night tonight, and that, again, is a shock to our system. Only going up to high in the low 40s for Sunday, and then as we continue to put the temperatures in motion, watch how temperatures crash again. By the time you're waking up on Monday morning, we are into the low 20s to our northern counties, to mid-20s along the Ohio River. So cold, cold, cold is going to be the story that dominates for us, and we only rebound again to the low 40s, as you can see. So Again, by the time this light snow is sticking in at the end of the temperature, same ending time as the future radar, you can see, yes, it would certainly be sticking up here where it's snowing because you've certainly fallen below that at the time. And that'll continue to overspread our area. So let's talk about accumulations. Well, the NAM is a little bit more aggressive than some of the other models. And you can see it's got pretty much a 2-inch swath for at least some of our counties, grazing points maybe from, let's say, around the Bedford area and north, certainly up in the Indianapolis area and all this, but only maybe, well, you can see southwest Indiana doesn't get anything. I started to say you get screwed out of anything, but that's probably not being screwed this time of the year, considering we've had like 9,000 snows this year, right? Anybody else, just raise your hand if you're sick of the snow. The good news is this may be our last snow of the year. We can keep our fingers crossed and hope so. I know I'm getting tired of forecasting snow. Doesn't look like major accumulations for most of this, though, in southern Indiana. In fact, I'm thinking that the 2-inch accumulations here are probably a little bit over aggressive with this one. This looks like it's going to be a fairly moisture starved system. It doesn't look like it's going to be a system that can really dump a lot over us. I'm thinking the NAM is a little off on that. It is the outlier. If we take a look at the GFS for that same time frame, and you can see the GFS is absolutely minimal accumulations. And sometimes the GFS has a habit of underestimating things. Sometimes the NAM has a habit of overestimating things. So if you kind of put a combination on those, you may end up to an inch in some areas. But I think that's going to be more isolated spots given what I'm expecting out of this. Thinking in general, under a ½ inch for all of us is going to be the rule of thumb. So light accumulations at best. You can take a look at the Euro model, and it's on that same frame of idea. You don't hit up to an inch of accumulation until you start to get really north of the Bedford area, and there's only a few 2-inch plus accumulations up in northern Indiana. Canadian is also that similar type of idea. It's very, very light accumulations for us here in southwest Indiana. And also, given the temperatures of what we're going to rise to on Tuesday, it does look like we're going to reach above freezing, probably into the upper 30s on Tuesday from the way things look. So even if we do get a little bit of light snow on Monday night, the good thing about this is it's not going to stick to the roads, at least, most likely. Maybe make a few slick spots potentially on Tuesday morning, but those should pretty much clear up pretty quickly by the time temperatures move into the mid-30s, potentially with some lingering snow showers there. We'll have to see about that, but again, not a big event for us. Again, as I've said, the bigger event is going to be the shock to our system with the temperatures going back down to high temperatures even into the 30s. We'll talk about that here in a second. But there is good news, and we've talked about this in the past video as well, that even though we have about 4 days worth of cooler weather to come through, we've got some warmer weather to go through as well. If we take a look at the latest 8 to 14-day temperature outlook here from the Climate Prediction Center, you can see the above normal temperatures really over much of the eastern half of the United States and all over. Well, it's been above normal in the southwest all winter long, but we haven't seen it above normal here in a very long time. The below normal temperatures sort of being pushed back up to the north, and you can see really this is going to be some pleasant weather for our area. If we take a look at the GFS ensembles and just look at the raw temperature data, you can see here's really the 4 days that we're concerned about with it being kind of cooler weather here. And you're talking 42, 45, 40, 42 from those. But then notice how quickly it climbs up after this. Our normal high right now is 61 degrees in the Huntingburg, southwest Indiana area, Evansville area for this time of the year and so here's a normal, below, above, pretty much normal. So you can see, you get the hint here that we're going back to some very pleasant weather after this. So we've got to survive a few days, folks, but then after these few days, we're up into some very beautiful weather after this. All right. Go to southernindianaweather.com and we'll take a look at your Ubalor and Sun 7-day forecast. Again, a very cold high of 43 tomorrow, partly cloudy and much colder. Down to 24. That's going to feel really cold. We're only going down tonight as far as this goes Saturday night. Again, only down to 30, 32 degrees is roughly what I'm expecting. So much colder tomorrow night as that air filters in behind it. Cold front has now moved through and our winds will switch to the north and the temperatures will continue falling. Up to 45 on Monday, but again, those snow showers move in Monday night. Minor accumulations will be possible, but then look, we warm up to about 37, and this is on the low side of the forecast guidance. Some of the models suggest all the way up to 40, 42. Given the fact that I believe it's going to stay cloudy most of the day, I went on the low side of the guidance, but I don't think 40 is out of the question by any means. Do think we'll see some lingering snow showers, at least of the morning times, clearing out of here probably by the afternoon hours. So Again, it warms up enough that even if things do stick to the roads, it's going to turn to slush very quickly. So, and given the fact that it's minor accumulations, I would say certainly at this point well under an inch for most of us, with probably most of us getting a dusting to maybe a little bit more of a heavier coating. We're not expecting much out of this. Then the temperatures start to rise again, mostly sunny, still cool on Wednesday up to 45, but then you notice the warming trend, and by the time you get to Friday, we're up to the 60s again, which will be very nice. Cloudy with some showers around, but hey, we'll take it. Cold front moves through and we're back down to 50 again for Saturday. But again, as we take a look at the raw temperature data, excuse me, as we take a look at the raw temperature data, you can see that we warm up pretty nicely there beyond that. So definitely some nice weather on the way for us. It's going to be beautiful, and we will absolutely love it. All right. That is it for today's video, folks. We'll have another one of these for you likely tomorrow evening. For Southern Indiana weather, I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Have a great night, folks.